hospital window, a soft, impatient drumming that reminded him of bullets hitting metal. He lay still for a long moment, letting the sound trickle into his head. The room smelled of antiseptic and lemon cleaner. Everything looked too clean, too bright, too eager to pretend it was safe. His ribs ached with every breath. His skin felt too tight across his chest. A low hum vibrated under the blankets where his left arm should have been. It was constant and mechanical, like a tiny engine that never stopped spinning. He did not have to look to know it was there. He could feel the weight of it. Heavy, wrong, attached to him like a memory that refused to die. He finally turned his head. The metal fingers rested on top of the blanket, curled slightly, as if in thought. The black plating glistened with a cold shine even in the dim light. Caleb stared at it with no expression. His heart did not jump. He did not suck in a breath. He did not curse. He simply looked at the thing that had taken the place of his own flesh. A soft knock came from the doorway. "Elena," he said, though he had not yet seen her. She stepped in quietly, almost timidly, as if afraid her presence might upset him. Her hair, which she usually kept straight and tucked behind her ears, looked tangled from days of worry. Her eyes were puffy and red, and her clothes were wrinkled, as if she had slept in them. "You are awake," she whispered, voice trembling slightly. "Thank God." He did not say anything at first. He lifted the metal hand slowly and watched the way the joints moved. Smooth, precise, too smooth to ever feel natural. Elena took a hesitant step forward. "Caleb," she said softly, "look at me." He turned his head. His expression did not change. She stared into his eyes, searching for something warm or familiar. She found nothing but cold quiet. She forced a smile. "You are alive. That is what matters. We will figure the rest out." Her words hung in the air like thin thread, stretched too tight. He did not answer. She moved closer, her fingers brushing the blanket near his leg. A small gesture, but she pulled back before touching him. "You scared me," she said, eyes lowering. "They did not think you would make it." Caleb blinked slowly. "Taurus," he said. Elena froze. "Who?" He swallowed, throat tight. "Taurus, Malloy, Jameson. Did they tell you if any of them made it?" She looked away immediately, and he already knew the answer. Her silence felt heavier than the metal attached to him. They did everything they could," she whispered. Caleb's jaw tightened. He stared up at the ceiling, blinking away the burning in his eyes. The hum under the blankets grew louder, vibrating up his shoulder. Elena looked at the arm as if it offended her. "They said it was experimental, a new program, something to help injured soldiers recover. They said you were a good candidate. They said it was a blessing." Caleb's lip curled faintly. "A blessing." She bowed her head. "I do not know what to say." He did not either. A nurse entered then, politely breaking the tension. She checked his vitals and made small talk, pretending not to notice the dead air in the room. When she left, Elena reached again for the edge of the blanket. "Caleb, can I touch your hand?" He did not answer, so she took the silence as permission. She reached for his right hand instead of the metal one. Her fingers felt warm against his, normal, human. The metal arm twitched. Just a tiny flick of one finger, but Elena jumped as if it had snapped at her. Caleb turned his head slowly toward it. The arm settled back into stillness. Elena's eyes darted between Caleb and the limb. "Does it hurt?" "Yes," he said, "but not in the way you mean." She swallowed. "I want you home. We will get through this." He did not correct her. He did not tell her he doubted either of those things was true. Marcus arrived in the afternoon. He stepped into the room with the casual confidence of someone who had known Caleb long before the military had carved discipline into his bones. Marcus wore a gray sweater, dark jeans, and a warm expression that had softened many stubborn men in his counseling sessions. "Look at you," Marcus said gently, "alive despite your best efforts." A faint twitch of amusement tugged at the corner of Caleb's mouth. Barely noticeable, almost imagined. Marcus dropped into the chair beside the bed. "Elena stepped out to make some calls. She told me you woke up." Caleb nodded. Marcus looked at the metal hand. "How does it feel?" Caleb lifted it slowly, watching the way the light slid over the black plating, like something that belongs to someone else. "That makes sense," Marcus said. "Trauma changes the way the mind views the body, especially if the body is changed without permission." Caleb did not answer. Marcus leaned forward slightly. "Tell me what you remember." Sand, fire, screams, Torres's hand slipping out of his, the ridgeline, the shadowed figure watching him fall, the feeling of being chosen for something he never wanted. Caleb inhaled, then exhaled, bits. That is enough for now. Marcus studied him carefully. Do not force anything. You came close to dying. The mind has its own pace. Caleb looked out the window. Rain hit the glass in long streaks. Marcus shifted in his chair. Elena is worried. She keeps blaming herself. Caleb's stomach tightened. She should not. I know. But fear is a liar. She thinks she lost you long before the ambush. Caleb blinked once. Marcus hesitated. Are you willing to talk to her? Really talk? Caleb did not move. The room filled with the low hum of machines and distant footsteps in the hallway. Finally, Caleb said, Not yet. Marcus accepted the answer with a quiet nod. He stood slowly. When you are ready, I am here. He placed a hand on the bed frame, not touching Caleb, but anchoring the moment. I am glad you are alive. Whether you feel glad or not does not matter yet. Caleb gave the smallest nod. In return, Marcus left. That night, the blackout came. It started with a shiver down his spine. He sat up straight in the hospital bed. The lights flickered overhead, casting the room in cold flashes. The hum of his metal arm grew deeper, turning into a low growl. He stared at the black fingers as they curled slowly into a fist. His heart thumped hard once, twice, and then the world blurred around the edges. Sounds stretched thin. The rain outside turned into a steady roar. His breath quickened. His vision tunneled. He saw the ridge again. The face of the man watching, the shadows around him moving like a silent crowd. Caleb grabbed the bed rail with his metal hand. It bent. The steel screeched under the pressure, warping like clay. His grip tightened further until the rail nearly tore free from the frame. He gasped and forced his hand open. The arm twitched violently, resisting him before settling back into a trembling stillness. The blackout faded. His pulse slowed. His mind returned. He stared at the twisted metal rail. The sight made his stomach drop, not because of the strength, but because he did not remember the moment clearly. His memory had gaps, thin slices taken out like someone had edited the footage of his life. He lay back slowly. This was not just trauma. Something else had come home from the desert with him. Elena returned the next morning to drive him home. She helped him sit up, speaking gently, carefully, as if any sudden movement might break him. He said little. She kept glancing at the cyber arm in the corner of her eye, hoping she could get used to it if she stared long enough. She did not understand that it was not the arm she should fear. It was the silence behind Caleb's eyes. They reached the car in the hospital parking lot. The wind swept across the pavement, cold and restless. As Caleb opened the passenger door, he paused. A small white object lay tucked neatly against the windshield wiper. A chess piece. A white rook. Elena gasped. Is that from one of your army friends? Maybe someone visiting? Caleb stared at the piece for a long moment. Too long. No, he murmured. She picked it up before he could stop her. It is just a chess thing, right? Someone is trying to cheer you up. Her attempt at levity fell flat. Caleb took the rook from her hand, fingers tightening around it slowly. Caleb, she whispered, what is it? He looked at the piece. The smooth white body, the tiny crack along the top edge, the familiar shape from countless nights of strategy games with Bishop in basic training. He closed his hand around it. Nothing, he said, but the word tasted like a lie. Far across the parking lot, a man stood in the shadow of a tree, coat pulled tight, hood low over his face. He watched Elena help Caleb into the car. He watched Caleb glance once in his direction, as if sensing something but unable to name it. A faint smile touched the man's lips. He pulled a small black bishop piece from his pocket, twirling it slowly between gloved fingers. It begins, he whispered. The wind carried his voice away. The rook had moved, and now the bishop was already sliding across the board.